from my heart, hope from my mind. Got me believing that I don't have a place. I drown in my fears as my tears trail down my face. Be gone, Mr. Batman, you're a thief in the night. I was so scared, I found no relief, I shake and I hide. Be gone, Mr. Batman, 'cause you won't crush my dreams. I hear my soul, see, just don't let go. I hear it scream. I need an angel, so I pick up the phone. I hear your voice, you give me a choice, tell me I'm not alone. You got me believing that I don't have a place. When my world is dead, you raise up my head, you're my saving grace. Be down in this baby, you're a thief in the night. But I came prepared, my heart on my sleeve, my love and my life. Be down in this baby, 'cause you won't kill my dreams. Yeah, I hear my soul, they just don't let go. I hear it scream. I hear my soul, Mr. Batman, see, just don't let go. I hear my soul, see, just don't let go. You leave me alone. Be gone, Mr. Batman.
Welcome, everybody. What a way to start the show off today, huh? Had a little technical difficulties, and then I kind of got dropped out of the system there. So I'm calling in just like anybody else would call in today, and I'm still going to run the show here, so don't worry about it. We just had a little glitch there as we started off. By the way, that song that you were listening to as the show opened is by today's guest. It's called Mr. Badman, and our guest today is Wayne Chater, and you're really going to love his story, what he has to share today, and I'm excited to have him here because he's taken his time to call all the way in from Australia today. But I do want to start off by extending a big, giant welcome to everybody, whether you're returning because you've listened to the show before, you know what I do here, you like what's going on here, or welcome because you're joining us for the very first time. We do stream live in 3 additional places, which is TalkStream Live, StreamFinder, and also PEN, known as Pair Encounters Network, and I welcome everybody listening through those channels as well. And what I do is during this show, I look at living a more compassionate life by aligning with your personal life codes. And when I do this, many times what I do is I have guests on the show. It's about 50-50. Sometimes I'm doing my own show. Sometimes I have other guests on the show. But it gives you a chance that way to learn about other things that might be an option for your code energy. And then like today, I also highlight different musical artists along the way. And I do a variety of different topics, tools, resources, thoughts that come out allowing you to have your own personal exploration in things, to gain some universal insights and to expand your perception and how life works, because, you know, it's really about that, isn't it? A lot of times, I mean, we're here to, you know, on one hand there's a purpose, on another hand there's not, but it's about how you function in the world and what works for you. Now, in my own work, what I do is interpret a person's life codes to allow them to live a life filled with compassion. And I've created the Genesis Clearing Statement, which some of you may have heard me do way early on at the beginning of the show time frame when I started off doing things. And mostly you'll find that where other people have interviewed me, and you can listen to that. I'll give you a place that you can connect with that in a minute. I've also authored 4 books, the most recent being You, Me, Life Dreams, and its companion workbook, which are based on relationships, how to find and activate your perfect relationship for you. And then my first two books, Activating Compassion and its companion workbook. And then I'm also a collaborator on a fifth book, which actually is an international bestseller, number one bestseller, I should say, and that is Embraced by the Divine, A Woman's Gateway to Power, Passion, and Purpose. And in addition, I've created the True North Tour, which is a multi-state nationwide tour, including workshops, retreats, seminars, book signings, and fundraising events. And I'm gradually working on how I'm going to be bringing some things out in that capacity as well. I will be traveling out to California near the Los Angeles area, actually a little south of Los Angeles, come around June. So there'll be probably some things happening around that area, I would anticipate, and a few other states. Who knows? I may be making a pass through Colorado. We'll just see what unfolds between now and then. And you can follow, by the way, all the events, my workshops, and all of those great things through my website, JessieAnnNicholsGeorge1.com. Now, just a reminder, if you do enjoy the show today, I encourage you to make certain that you tell your friends and family and significant others. And, because I find when I share the show, it's always something amazing that happens. Somebody always comes back and goes, oh, my gosh, that was an amazing guest that you had on, or, I've been wondering about this topic, or this really helped me out with something in my life. So you don't know. You may just change a life in that process of sharing the show. And they can always listen to it, getting to it by the very same link you used to get into our live show today, and then listen to it at their convenience, and it's available immediately after we finish here today. And then also they can catch it as a podcast on iTunes, TuneIn.com, or through my YouTube channel. So there's a whole lot of options for things and for how they work here. So that's a very positive aspect there, whatever somebody's preference or choices or any of that. Now, what I like to do for those that have listened in each week, they know that I like to delve into a little book called The 72 Names of God by Kabbalah Master Yehuda Berg. And I love it because Yehuda does things in that, he puts it in real life. He puts it in our reality, so to say, and makes it a little more tangible for us to get some of these understandings and perceptions. And so every week I turn into the next page in the book to see what his thought is for the week. And this also goes on my page of the Main Street Universe tab on my website. So I like to go back and look at things throughout the week when I'm working with a certain energy flow for the week. And you can find that there, and you can go back and read through it as well during the week. Now, the name of God that he has, and he has the formal name and the common name. And the common name of God that we have this week is removing hatred. And the little initial message that he has on this is, I have seen the enemy, and they are us. And he goes on to provide the insight of all destruction, including even natural disasters, occurs for one reason: humanity's hatred toward our fellow beings. Kabbalah teaches that tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, and disease are born from the collective hatred that burns in our hearts. The truth, there is no such thing as natural disasters, despite what our innocent insurance policies might say. Now, human behavior and the human heart are the sole determining factors as to what occurs in our environment and what transpires between nations. And here's what the ancient Kabbalists had to say on this matter. If a person witnesses any form of hatred on his own street or anywhere in the world, it means this person still has some measure of hatred lingering in his own soul. Now, if we harbor even the slightest bit of hatred or animosity for another person, for any reason whatsoever, valid or invalid, whether we're aware of it or whether we're in self-denial, we still bring destruction to the world. So by cleansing the hatred in our own hearts, we can remedy all the world's problems at once, at the level of their root cause. And this is a big thing. We think of all the so-called natural disasters happening, the big snowstorms on the East Coast and high heat in other areas and floods in other areas and things. And the earth is reacting to our heart space. Matter of fact, later this year I have an entire show based around the codes that are involved in different things that happen, weather patterns and things like this that happen. So, it's important for us to realize and acknowledge that these things aren't happening to us, but that we are creating them. And it's time for us to shift that balance. It's time for us to get back to our hearts and to create a different option than what we're experiencing right now. And the meditation that Yehuda goes on to give is, be painfully honest. Acknowledge every person or group of people toward whom you feel anger, envy, malice, total disgust, or any combination thereof. With the light of this name, drop these negative feelings like a load of wet laundry. So again, we're dealing with the concept this week from Yehuda of removing hatred, and the formal name is Resh Yud Yud. Okay, that's Resh Yud Yud. And again, you can find that on my page of the Main Street Universe tab on my website, Jessie Ann Nichols George, one.com. Now, I've got a little thought here to bring us together, to hold us over to when our guest will be coming on the air, and I see that he's there and he's around, so that's exciting. Now, a little thought just to kind of get us headed in the direction of where we're going. And, those that know me know that I like to bring my guests on through the turning of the year, and this is a very important time of the turning of the year. It's a time where we welcome back life energy, the feminine energy into the earth in our natural cycle of the seasonal year. And it's a time where we are restoring the love and the light, and the light is growing again. So I think that this is going to be a wonderful guest to have on today, because I was looking at some different avenues of where to go with a musical guest, and this guest happened to come to me through a connection, and I was like, yes, this is what we want on here today. So it's exciting. But a little thought here before we go to a break song and get our guest on today, and that is, how simple is your life, and how real are you living? Is your life filled with complicated situations or the need to be something that you are not? It is so easy in a world that runs at such a fast pace and full of technology to make things complicated. Many people get wrapped up in worrying about being good enough, solid enough, presentable enough, and really just being enough. And this can be a really vicious cycle for anyone. This may start with something as simple as wanting to do a good job at work, or wanting to be liked by someone that you have an interest in, or even wanting to make your parents or others proud of you. However, this is also a life that is based on living outside of ourselves, living by others' thoughts and opinions, and it is a life that becomes complicated. This type of life is not one where people will find the fulfillment, no matter how much they measure up or surpass the perceived expectations that they are living in. And I have noticed that so many today are really afraid to be themselves, to express their likes and their dislikes. And this may come from fear of offending others, or fear of not being accepted, or fear that they will disappoint others. However, again, this can only be when we are living to please others. And this world, from the time we are born, brings in aspects of having to achieve certain things within certain guidelines and working based on the standards that others have set for us, such as a child that needs to learn to walk by a certain age or have certain skills developed at a certain point. Otherwise, they are deemed slow, a problem, a disappointment, and many other terms that may be used which lay the foundation of never being good enough and accepted for who they are. As adults, we carry this over into careers by trying to get ahead, make a good impression on the boss. We have to achieve certain skills to progress or be promoted. We are pushed to do more, take on more, have more. As in, you have to have more than your neighbor, friends, or to be more successful than your parents were, or give more to your children. How ironic is this? This often leads to being something that we are not, and it is in this cover-up, in trying to do the piece that others find important, that we can easily forsake our own special light and gifts that we are here to shine. A lack of fulfillment takes over as we move faster and faster in a shell of something we are not. It is in this space that we often will come to a screeching halt, often known as a wake-up call. Now, this is something that Wayne Chater knows all too well. He had a love and passion for music and poetry, but set it aside for other things in life. And his wake-up call came in the form of a brain tumor. And I can relate to this, having been through some strong health issues as well in my path, and mine really shifted me into a life that led me to simplify and to be real, to step out of worrying about whether others approved or didn't, to embrace what was really me, whether anyone else liked it or not. And it made me slow down and simplify. And this should tell us something, because divine presence isn't outside. It is not in the fast-paced hustle and bustle of getting ahead in the material world and then pleasing others. Yet it is very evident in the simple things and very visible and available when we slow down. We experience this often with a true vacation. Experience this when we take time to be still and do for ourselves. Self is actually coded to the energy of divine presence and energy. And it is when we allow ourselves to be real in the world that we give people the chance to really love us. And this is because we are sharing the spark of the divine that we carry within us. It is not about being loved by someone else in the world, but about being our own spark of light. And that light is simple, raw, real from within. The rose does not try to be a pine tree, and the pine tree does not try to be a grapevine. The color blue does not try to be red, and red does not try to be yellow. Each embraces what it is and simply lives fully as its true self. Be what you are and not what you are not. For many, being in this space is scary, as it requires a certain level of vulnerability. However, when willing to surrender and experience this space, we find it is not scary at all, but liberating, energizing, and yes, fulfilling. It is here that we connect with divine abundance and euphoria. What are you doing to live raw? And are you keeping things simple in your life? And what can you do to be more fully yourself? It's a lot to think about. That's some really big topics and something we're going to delve into on this show, which we're also going to be sharing some great music by today's guest, Wayne Chater. Now, one little piece here before we go into break and bring our guest on today, and that is our code energy for the week. And by the way, you can find, all these things again, the name of God from Yehuda that we dealt with this week, as well as the code energy on my page of the Main Street Universe tab on my website, JessieAnnNicholsGeorge1.com. So the code energy for this week, it brings promise of success. And this is a time where our efforts can pay off for us, where the trials and tribulations that we have been through begin to have meaning for us, and we can gain understanding of the purpose of the challenges that we have been through in our life. This marks the time of doors opening, advancement, and receiving recognition for what you have done. As this happens, remember to remain humble, graciously receive it all, and have compassion for those that have not done the work and still have challenges that they are experiencing. Enjoy the progression that is happening now for yourself. Smile from within. And this is the real key to it, being lasting and sustaining. There's no need to put it in others' face or to seek affirmation from them. Divine connection in motion. Enjoy the embrace of this and allow yourself to feel it in the deepest core of your being. Of course, it is always wise to not become reckless in your success. So keep operating with wisdom and use it to keep creating real and lasting experiences. Instead of putting the energy of this success only on material world things, I'm going to, that's the difference. Let it be lasting. Enjoy it. And when you get the success, use it wisely. I'm going to take a short break, and when I return, we're going to have with us Wayne Chater, because he's going to jump in here. I believe through Skype he's coming in today, and we're going to be talking more about living raw and simple, getting real in life. And the song I've got for you during the break is by today's guest. It is called Grow. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. And I do see Wayne hanging out there in the chat room. So, Wayne, where you're listening in there, you can just click on the blue Skype icon, if you would, that's next to the phone number right above the scrolling picture. And that should connect you to Blog Talk Radio and bring you right into my chat room. And we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Boy came back. Oh, yes, he did. Broke down walls behind which he once hid. I still see him now, once in a while. Lessons in the tears behind his smile. Whoa. We live, we love, we fly, we soar. We crash, we burn, and we learn some more each day. You be better than you were before. You live, you love, you learn, you grow. Girl she caught away, she reached the shore. Played her favorite song and shut the door. I still see her now, her head in the clouds. She's dancing in a daze behind the crowds. Whoa. We live, we love, we fly, we soar. We crash, we burn, and we learn to let go each day. You be better than you were before. You live, you love, you learn, you grow. The sky, it is her face. Here with me in every breath, in every place. In this moment I have learned we burn. We live, we love, we soar, we fly. Whoa, we crash, we burn, and still we try. Each day to be better than we were before. We live, we love, we learn, we grow.
And welcome back. You are listening to Code Connection. And my name is Jessie Ann Nichols George, and I'm your hostess today. And you were just listening to a song by today's guest, which is titled Grow, and today's guest is Wayne Chater. So I'm very excited to have him here with us. And we did have a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning of the show, but I think we pretty much got them worked out at this point. And some days it's just like that, you know, it's real, right? You got to ride with it a little bit. So today I have with me Wayne Chater, and he is a singer, songwriter, and busker based in Sydney, Australia. Born and raised in Calcutta, India, his journey has definitely been one of reflective of the wide-eyed slumdog son, the millionaire bit. And his life was shaken to the core when his father was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And Wayne was left feeling empty, lost, and confused, and saw the world as he knew it crumble around him both professionally and personally, and searching for the true purpose of his existence as a means to cope. And I'm going to make a correction here because I said earlier it was Wayne that had the brain tumor, and it was not. Indeed, it was his father. So my bad for that, as you want to say in there. But he, in the process of searching for true purpose of his existence and as a means to cope with the emotions pulsing through him, found his outlet in songwriting. And he reconnected with his passion for poetry and singing, following his dream to share love and experiences with the world around him through song. Wayne's songs will speak to you in their simplicity and touch you with their rawness and an honesty that comes from experiences where life has brought you to your knees and then shown you just enough to know what is truly important. And he is currently working on his first project called Tunnel Vision, which he's sharing with us today. And Wayne reveals himself without smoke and mirrors. Each day he remains to living his true purpose. And to put that quite simply is be love. And you can catch up with Wayne through his Facebook page, facebook.com/Wayne Chater Music, and that's WayneChaterMusic. And I'm going to open up his mic. I believe this is him. And Wayne, welcome to Code Connection.
Hi, Jess. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Absolutely. You're on.
Excellent. Yeah, like you said, it was a little bit of a technical issue before, but yeah, it is real, and I'm here now.
It was funny. It actually kicked me out of the switchboard, and I had to call in as a regular caller to get into the switchboard to do the show. So it's kind of amusing. And I've never actually had it totally kick me out of the switchboard. So, but you know, that just fits in with today. I look at whatever happens fits in with today, and I would love, because you have such an interesting background, and I love raw and simple. And I think what you're sharing with us today is going to be really important because people have gotten so complicated in the world. But I would love for you to start off with sharing your journey a little more as far as how you got into doing this musical work. Why this type of work? Why doing it with the way you chose to do it?
Sure. Um, well, I grew up in India, in Calcutta. Love the city. It's the city of chaos and character. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. Um, in spite of the things that people say about the population, the pollution, and things difficult to do on a daily basis, but I absolutely love the city. Um, Grew up always loving music and sport, and had a chance to go to a really good um, school there in Calcutta, St. Xavier's, and always nurtured, this desire to perform and to write. That's the opportunity the school gave me. Um, when I kind of went through school not ever thinking that I'd be doing music, as something that I carried on doing for life. I thought I'd do it as a hobby and enjoy things, like, just basically enjoy it and see where it goes. And once school finished and I went to university and to college and then university, I went to college and did commerce because that was just kind of the path you followed. You did something and you did a job that made you money, and everyone seemed to find things acceptable, and you went along with it. So I did an honors degree in commerce in Calcutta, and then I started working with a bank, and my job seemed to be going okay. I started to make a little bit of money because I wasn't from a very wealthy family, very middle class family, and but my family always supported whatever it is I was doing, and there's always a lot of love around in the house, and that was good for us, I think, as kids. Once I finished university, I decided I finished working for a couple of years, and then went through a difficult breakup with a person that I loved very much, and decided it was time to move on in my life, and I decided to come and live in Sydney. And I went to university to a master's degree here. I did a master's in accounting, and struggled a lot with getting work once being a new immigrant in a new country, and I did quite a few jobs. I worked in retail, in as an analyst with a couple of big companies. Did a sales role finally, and the changing point in my life, I think, was when my dad was diagnosed with cancer. It was a massive eye-opener for me, and I don't know what it was, but when I went down and saw my father, who had never really been ill in his life, see life be taken away from him. He fought with courage, and he fought a losing battle. Not once did he complain. Not once did he, ask, why is this happening to me? He just seemed to accept it graciously and go through whatever it is he was going through. And when I returned to Sydney after that, I didn't know what I was, actually. I was confused. I was sad, a combination of a lot of emotions and feelings, and didn't really know where my place was or what my purpose was. I was also in a relationship with a lovely girl at that time, and none of it seemed to be enough for me, and I seemed to be just surrounded by a very dark space, and I didn't know what was happening, and it spiraled out of control, to the point where I was actually suicidal, and went to see a lot of people and psychiatrists and got put on medication and things like that. And I decided then to ask myself, a question. I had an aunt who was very supportive of me here in Sydney, and there were days that I really couldn't move or get out of bed, and it went on for a long time, for almost 18 months. And in my heart, there was a little voice that kept saying, you can do this. Even when, you think you can't, you can do this. It was just something I was listening to. And everything then fell apart. I couldn't go to work. I had to quit my job. My relationship was over. I had to move out from the apartment that I was sharing with my girlfriend, and I was completely alone. And in this time, all I would do really was head out. I'd look for a quiet place. Maybe there was a lovely temple called Nantien, which is a Buddhist temple here. I'd go to the church, anywhere where I could find a bit of quiet, sit at the beach, and just sit and acknowledge the fact that I am here. And that's all I would keep saying, I am here. And eventually I started to feel a little bit of energy return to me, and I decided to start doing things that I just really loved. And for a long time I hadn't written no song. And the songs that I've written for Tunnel Vision are all born out of that experience. So I used to go into Central Tunnel in Sydney and just play music acoustically and sing whatever it is that my heart was feeling. And those songs were born from that. And I found that I was in a space where I was regaining my light and the darkness was disappearing. And people would come up to me in the tunnel and comment on, an energy that you're giving out in this space. Because you see it's a really busy tunnel and people are always walking through. And, that's kind of where the journey is. And the music, Jess, I do because I love it, not because for any other reason. If I do make, sometimes I do make some money off it, and that's okay. But I work another day job, and the music I do purely out of love. And the day job pays the bills, and that's all it is. That's pretty much the story. There's a few more layers to it, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
Well, and your journey is one that I think a lot of people maybe haven't hit as hard or as big of walls as maybe you have along the way. I understand that aspect of not getting out of bed because I know my own health issues along the way. I couldn't get out of bed. I was like you, stressed. Things weren't fulfilling. The world was crumbling apart on me, and I got to a point where I couldn't feel my legs, and it would take me 2 or 3 hours to get out of bed in the morning. Couldn't see to the end of my bed. And, hopefully through stories like yourself and the examples that you're sharing here today, that we can be a catalyst for people not to have to get to those points before they turn things around and go, yes, I've got to have that love and that passion in my life and put an emphasis on that. And it's still okay to work a day job because for so long, I think we've been programmed as spiritual people or those that step into the spiritual industry as, you're a failure if you have to work a day job in addition to doing your passion, or, you're not manifesting well enough if you're having to do anything else. And it's not the case when we get down to it. It just, to me, isn't the case. But you have a song that it seems like it applies to this journey that you went through, and I'd love for you to share some more layers regarding it, which is called Through It All, because I think that really is it, is coming through it sometimes. And like yourself, I've been through a suicide attempt. I've been through some of those darker spaces, and somehow we do manage to get through it all.
That's absolutely true. And, I think the truth is that we must not be afraid of acknowledging those moments. And sometimes when I speak, as I do, I'm quite open to let people know what I've been through, and gets frowned upon sometimes for being too honest. But that is who we are. Who are we without, being our honest selves? And instead of, the idea is not to try and paint a picture of who you are. It is to be who you are. And I loved what you were saying earlier on the show about being yourself. And, we come through this life conforming to a lot of things, being conditioned by a lot of things about the way we need to be. And we don't allow ourselves just to be. I'm learning that lesson as we go through, each day. And Through It All is there's an interesting little story behind that song. wrote the song, my sister decided that she was going to get married a little over a year after my father passed away, and she asked me to write a song for her. My sister knows full well that I don't sit down to write a song. um, you either feel something or a little message somewhere months in the process or even years. So I've written songs where I've written a verse 5 years ago and the end of the song 5 years later, and just feeling moments. And through it all came to me like that. She asked me to write a song a year before she was getting married. And 2 weeks before her wedding, she calls me and says, "So you've done this song, right?" And I was like, "Not really." And she, as most brides do, she started to freak out a little. She was like, "All right, I've got the decorations. I'm planning this wedding on my own, and now I've got my brother who I have to write a song for." So I was like, "No, don't worry. I'm sure it'll come to me." And a couple of weeks before I was leaving to go to Goa in India, where she got married, I had a dream, and it was as simple as that. I was in a deep sleep, and my dad was talking to me, and he came to me, and he was there as he was when he was fine, and he literally told me what he wants to tell my sister, what he wanted to tell my mother, and his little message to myself through the song. And that, without a word of lie, Jesse, that is what the song is. The first verse of the song is what he wants to tell my sister. "My beautiful baby, I've watched you grow, and I'm with you today, in the light of the sun and stars, and every beat that your heart makes." So that is literally what he said, so I put it on paper. And then in the second verse, he talks to my mom, and he says, "My beautiful darling, we've done our best. Our babies, they have grown. We bless them with this prayer, to share this journey they set sail on." Those are the messages there. And the little bridge that is there and the chorus were messages to all of us, about making it through it all, through tough times. And the bridge is especially of significance to me. And it was a time when, I was at conflict with, whether what I was doing was right for all the money that was coming in. And I had quit that job, and I started without anything, without any money. And my dad was kind of reiterating the fact that, your true value and your true wealth is in your soul, deep within you. And that's it.
That is really, really wonderful, and that's going to be some great things for people to reflect on as we listen to this song here with it. And I was chuckling a little bit because I have a niece who is an artist, and she's done some music and various things, and that waiting until 2 weeks before the wedding to get the song to come through. That there's a blend, because that's just like the true nature of the artist. Every artist person I know leaves it to the last minute. But there's also that piece that when you are in that flow, you can't force it. And sometimes we just have to trust it, as you did in this situation, that it's going to come and it's going to happen, and I'm going to get exactly the piece of information I need to create this. And I've been there a couple of times myself where I walked in and literally didn't know until the time I was in the event doing it what I was going to say.
Beautiful. It's so true, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I can completely relate. This song is called "Through It All," and it's by today's guest, Wayne Chater. So listen in. Reflect on some of the thoughts he's given. And if you're just joining us, you'll want to go back and catch some of the beginning and the insights leading into this song. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
watched you grow. You dine with you today in the light of the sun and stars, and every beat that your heart makes. So take my darling girl and hold her in your heart. May your love see you on your way. Today is just the start. And the storms may come and they blow you down. And the fires burn, but to stand your ground. You hope, you dream, and you rise about every fall, and your love sees you through it all. My beautiful darling, we did our best. Our babies, they have grown. We blessed them with this prayer to share this journey they set sail on. And as you join your life, love with all you know. May your love see you on your way. Every day you learn, you grow. And the storms may come and they blow you down. And the fires burn all you want, but you stand your ground. And you hope, and you dream, and you rise about every fall, and your love will see you through it all. And may your faith stay strong and true. Keep you safe and shelter you. And we let the fools chase their goals.
And welcome back, everybody. You're listening into Code Connection, and we have today's guest, Wayne Chater, and he's with us sharing his music as we take the next step in the turning of the year and the turning of the seasonal year. And those that have listened in before know that I love to have my musical guest on at the turning of the year because it makes such an impact in helping keep us with the seasons and the cycles naturally in there. And, so it's wonderful to have him with us, and he's coming in from Australia here today. So that song that you were listening to is called Through It All, and definitely a wonderful piece that he created, he said, for his sister's wedding, which is very interesting. So, Wayne, you talk about, really, you mentioned a term earlier, and we have it in your show description, being a busker or doing busking. And that's a term that I would say most people in America are not familiar with. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more of what that is about.
Right. So a busker is basically, in Australia, we consider them street performers. So it's you have we have the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge, a little place in Sydney called Circular Quay. We have a lot of people performing street art, and it could be anything from acrobats to music to poetry to artists who just perform and share kind of their art on the street. You can choose to do it in any avenue you want, as grand a scale or as humble a scale as you choose to do. But I think the important thing is that you get out there and you share it. So you go to the council and you get a license, and that gives you permission to play at select venues around the city. And you may leave a guitar case out there if someone wants to, put a few coins in or make a donation or buy your CDs. But for me, it's really just getting out there and doing it to spread a message and to, we control the energy that we put out through the universe and the world around us. And, there's people walking by us all the time, and that energy helps us connect with them. And you choose the energy you give out. And that's what I love. That's why I love busking.
I love this style, and I think it's something that we are going to get back to more and more because, even though I've been involved in some great things along the way, I think what people are learning along the way is a lot of these so-called big names out there, whether you're a musician or an author or any of these things, is oftentimes bought. The titles are bought. And I think what we're finding is more and more people like yourself that are saying, hey, I just want to be real and I just want to do my thing and I want to play my music or do my writing or whatever it is. And I found some of the most amazing musicians just in small venues, like the person that I had on back at the autumn equinox in September, who I just happened to find at a farmer's market in a town that I was passing through on tour. And so, it's definitely these different pieces. And I think some of the most amazing people are playing some of the most amazing music that are in this situation. And there's so much more heart when I listen to those people.
That's true, Jester. It's amazing, right? The amount of beautiful people that are out there choosing to share with one another, and there's no real it's really the act of giving, and that's the beauty of it. It does so much for you, and that, like, I realized that when I was out there, when you give of yourself, it people see it as generous, or or you're doing something for others, and seldom we think of the amount that it actually gives back to you to put that stuff out there. And when you talk about, there's a lot of big names that have been busking. There's recently, I don't know if you've heard of currently now a commercial artist called Passenger. There's Ed Sheeran. They all had careers, beautiful careers now, and they've just been started, humble buskers in the street doing the things that they love. And for me, I like playing at festivals and open mic nights and little intimate venues where you can connect with people. It just brings, like, I think that completes whatever you create. The artwork is how it connects to everything that is around you, and the energy that feeds back, and this beautiful circle that it forms, and that really gives me great joy.
Well, and I love what you're sharing here, because it provides a really great example. I think a lot of people, they'll start off on a path, and it's like, oh, I can make so much money at that, and I can do so much of that. But this type of a shift brings us back to an aspect of, it's okay to make money. There's nothing wrong with making money at what
Absolutely.
you love doing, and
Absolutely.
the spiritual arena and music and all of that. But the difference is the real money that's coming to you when you play from the heart, when you just get out there and do your passion. And the difference of what you're talking about, like with busking, and we have street performers here in the U.S. and things too, is that oftentimes when they're playing in that situation, the focus is not on the money but on the playing. And I like to emphasize that, because there's a very big difference, and this is oftentimes why we do connect to that person that's in the club or at open mic or those different things, because the focus is not on the money but on the experience, on the sharing. And that's
Absolutely.
where the real magic happens. In my opinion, that's where the real magic happens.
Absolutely. And there's been times when I've been playing, and like when I first started out, or even now when I go out, sometimes I'll go out as late as 1 a.m, and it's absolutely quiet, because I like a lot of the videos that are on the YouTube channel are recorded live at that time. So like at 1 a.m, at 2 a.m, and we try and just use the quietness of a space to create something. And a lot of the times the people walking by there really need that song, or they need that message. And during the day or in the afternoon when it's crowded, they need a sense of, that energy coming to them. And many times I've had my case closed and just been playing, and people are like, oh, where can we put some money? And I'll be like, that's, thank you so much for thinking that, you'd like to do that for me. I really appreciate it. But, this is just for you. So enjoy it. And, the reaction that you get back from that is priceless. And, the energy that comes from it is amazing. And we use money because that's the term that we know, we associate sometimes with value. And there are so many valuable things out there. And, just the way we interact with people, I find, and behave with one another, and, the things that we do, and the little conversations that we have with each day that, that are not on YouTube and people don't see, that each one of us have. That's where your value is. And for me, that's wealth.
Absolutely. And, taking that pressure off of people, and it's great, as you say, because I've found the same experience when I'm just doing something purely as a gift, purely because that's something I love. They still want to share. They still want to give, and it's not out of obligation. And that's the best way to receive money, in my opinion. That's the best way to receive from somebody, is because they're giving without being asked. They're giving without being prompted to do so. And they're so touched by what you're doing and giving to them that they don't want to let you go without an exchange of some sort. So it's a really cool thing that gets set in motion when we do that. Now, part of what you're describing, I imagine too, there's something that connects here with your song Poetry of Motion.
Yep. How did you guess, Jesse?
I'm so good at picking these orders.
Yeah. So, do you want a little bit background behind Poetry in Motion? Just a little story.
I would love it.
Excellent. So, I was working a job a couple of years ago in a multinational corporate company, and I decided on that day that I kept going through to work, and it came to a stage where mentally I did everything I needed to do at the job, but physically my body was stopping me from going to work. So even when I went through to work, I would be working and then I'd take a break to be sick and then come back and, do the rest of my job and go on. But it came to a stage where physically my body was not permitting me. It was telling me, red flag, Wayne, you need to start paying attention to me. So I decided it was time to quit. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had another part-time job in a retail company, so I thought, okay, maybe I can, I'd managed to pay my rent and food with that, and I'll see how things go. So I quit my job, and on the way home on the bus is when I thought of Poetry in Motion. And I took my guitar out into the tunnel, the busk, and it was crowded with people walking through in peak hour. And part of that song is how it starts, right? So was what I was feeling then, and it literally said that, run 1,000,000 miles, run 1,000,000 more. I don't want to run this race. I want to take it slow. And if I fall from grace, which is grace, in the way that sometimes we think we perceive what it is to be successful, or, at least I'll know. It's poetry in motion. We're in the deep end of the ocean and we're reaching for the light. And that was what I was feeling at that stage. And then the second verse was how I wanted to live. And it tells you over there that, I want to live from a place of love. I want to live from a place of happiness. I want to feel the waves. I want to feel this planet I'm on. I don't want to just be rushing through it and, be clouded by all these other things that come in the way of, everything that is beautiful that we're surrounded by. And I want to feel those things and connect with them. And, so when I sat down in a little bit of meditation for the day, the thing that was coming through to me was, poetry in motion, poetry in motion. You're in the deep end of the ocean, but you're reaching for the light. And that's the song there.
Well, I think it's great, and it's a great reminder to us because so many people do get stuck in that pattern, as you described, of just going through the motions of life and just speeding up, and they don't even know really what's happened in their day. I've been there. I've done that. And making the shift that you're talking about is, well, it makes a big shift within us as well.
Yeah, there's no real way to explain it. My mom thought it was too early for a midlife crisis, and I got a few concerned calls from a lot of people, obviously looking out for my benefit, and it made me doubt myself as well for a long time as to the decision that I was making. And I was like, you know what, I can always find something else to do if I like for money, and I have found other work, and that's absolutely fine. But I want to reevaluate the way I spend my day and my time and my energy, and when I come back home, how I utilize that energy. And I'm able to do that now, even though I sometimes work long hours and it's shift work and it's all over the place. But the time that I have for myself is truly my own. And I try to utilize that in, the best way that I can, doing the things I love.
And it is very important to honor that. This song is called Poetry in Motion or Poetry of Motion. It's by Wayne Chater, today's guest. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, so enjoy this.
We're on 1,000,000 miles, we're on 1,000,000 more. Don't wanna run this race, I wanna take it slow. And if I fall from grace, at least I'll know. It's poetry in motion, we're in the deep end of the ocean, and we're reaching for the light, the light, the light. I wanna dive in deep, I wanna feel the waves and do the best I can with every single day. Live from a place of love and happiness. And it will be poetry in motion. We're in the deep end of the ocean, and we're reaching through the night, the night, the night. It will be poetry in motion. We're in the deep end of the ocean, and we're reaching for the light, the light, the light.
Welcome back. You are listening to Code Connection. Today I have with me Wayne Chater, who is the musician of that music you were just listening to. And that's been really great. We've been discussing a lot of different concepts and the different aspects of living in life and bringing forward some of these, getting in tune with ourselves. How, Wayne has had a lot of things in life. He wasn't always raised with them, but definitely developed a strong life for himself and didn't find the fulfillment he was looking for. And certainly if you've missed any part of the show and the discussion, you'll want to go back and catch those aspects of it. And now, Wayne, you have this message, which is really about simplicity and being raw. Those are your key focus points in there. Mm-hmm. Why is that your key focus? What why that versus all the other options out there with your journey?
Well, Jesse, it really is quite simple. sometimes, like I felt with myself, and it's the only real perspective that I have to explain things with is through personal experience. Um, I've found that, sometimes we intend to do the right thing and we intend to make a difference, but we go about overcomplicating it or, trying to make it grander than it actually is. And in all of the noise that we add, the simplicity and the truth of the message that you're sending out gets taken away, which is why a lot of my songs are the way they are. I'm not, I'm a self-taught guitar player, so I'm not technically gifted, but it gives me enough to combine a message that has come, just in moments of silence and through life experience, to put that out there and in the most simple way possible, so that whoever needs that message can grasp it for what it is, and they don't have to wade through, a whole pile of, words and things and theories and complicating, scenarios to decipher what the message is. And it's really as simple as that. And it's raw because that's what it is. I'm so glad that you've actually opted to play a couple of the songs that are live versions from the YouTube channel, because not many people want to do that. They want these perfect, polished, sounds that you hear often, without any mistakes or imperfections. And for me, the live versions with the imperfections are what makes them unique and real and raw. And that's just part of it. If you really want to provide a message, you keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's just like it is with life. You keep it simple. And the rawness refers to just being yourself and being real and, having that belief that you are enough, you are good enough. And it actually comes back to what you were saying at the start of the show, because I just got snippets of it and it sounded like, oh my God, Jesse is like in my head talking to me. And I was like, wow. It's like,
I frequently have people tell me, get out of my head.
So, and that just goes to show that, that it's that common thread through us all. It's the way that we want to be and need to be. It's the way where it feels effortless, where you don't have to try so hard. It all just seems to come together when you need it to, for the purpose that you need it to come together for. And that's like, for me, those are the best moments.
I really agree, and it's interesting because since I came back to where I'm located right now, I've put a huge focus simplifying things, even though my work has all these layers to it and stuff that I'm putting into the world, my passion with working with codes. At the same time, I'm also doing a lot of simplifying, a lot of kind of paring back a little bit, not pulling back away from my work, but just simplifying and just getting real. And I think, as you've expressed, there is an incredible power, an incredible energy flow that runs through us when we're willing to be in that raw and vulnerable space, when we're really willing to just stand and say, hey, this is where my life is at. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't feel guilty of it. I don't need to make excuses for it. This is just where it's at. And you can accept me or not accept me, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
And I love
Absolutely.
these, if you want to say, unplugged tunnel versions, because for me, when we get into those so-called non-polished, anybody, it's kind of like I was saying earlier, anybody can go and buy the studio and buy the people to polish their work, just like a model can buy, a printer to touch up their photos and make them look unblemished in their photos. I'm not connecting with the real person in that case. And so I absolutely love this. So I'm glad that you were willing to share those with us. And it wraps me around to another point in here which is uh, a song that I think is also another really dear one or has some big value to you, called You Signed Your Name.
Yes. You Signed Your Name is a very special song to me. I mean, they all are in a sense because, they were created for a purpose and at a particular time. You Signed Your Name is a song related to a lot of the memories that I've had throughout my life. And it's a song related to love in its truest sense. A lot of the time when we talk about love, people think about it as romantic love and, the kind that, oh, I'm heartbroken or I'm not. But my grandmother always used to talk about unconditional love. And I think it's one of the things that has stayed with me. It's the way that you treat everyone around you, irrespective of their background, their race, their, where they what they do, how they dress. And, it's that gesture of kindness. That's love right there, the gesture of compassion, the way you speak to someone or acknowledge them. And You Signed Your Name is a song that takes all those memories and puts them, into a song for me. It was written, unfortunately, it seems that a lot of my songs are inspired only when I lose people in my life. And this happened to be a mentor of mine, a priest in the school that I was telling you about earlier, St. Xavier's in Calcutta. That is one of my mentors who's known me from childhood going through life, and his name is Father Boris. And, he's got, I'm just one in the many people who he has inspired through his life. Just the nicest, most approachable person who, who used to be the prefect of my school, and which is like the vice principal, and just used to come down and be such a regular guy to us that we thought, this is how people should be. And we have a little Jesuit motto that we grew up learning, which is to be men for others. And it wasn't really to say those words, it was how you interacted with people that made you men for others. And when he passed away, again, it was cancer, and it was a short while ago, last year, that I wrote You Signed Your Name. And the memories were of, the corridors were all reflective metaphors. So the corridors of the school became the corridors of my mind, him signing all the things in my notebook and things like that, when we were sick, when we were late, when we were not going to class and he was letting us off the hook. He signed little things. And I took that memory of him and all those memories from school and then started to build on with the memories of my father and the memories of the relationships, the love that I had felt in my life through my family and my friends, and especially the relationships that I have had in my life, and people who may no longer be a part of my life, in that aspect, because, the relationship is now over, but the love has not ended, and it is still a very beautiful thing that you carry in you. And that is what the song is about, is that if you give that love and it's unconditional, it stays beautifully throughout the course of your life on your journey, and you can tap into that source and to that energy whenever you really need it, because, those moments when you're low or you're down, you remember that love, and that's what You Signed Your Name is about.
And as you say, keeping in mind that it's really about being loved. It's not always about everything being the smoothest path along life. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be various things that might come along, but you can still be loved, and you can still love unconditionally in those situations. We are talking with Wayne Chater today, and this song is what he was just referring to. It's called You Signed Your Name. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
shapes my world's design. If these walls could speak, legends would seem tame. But from the start upon my heart, you signed your name. Oh, it's been a while since I felt your smile. It sees beyond my words. In between the lines, I see the signs of the truth you show my world. If these walls could speak, legends would seem so tame. For from the start upon my heart, you sign your name. And these walls, they sing that everything changes. It's just how we are made. Your song echoes in these corridors, even though your footsteps fade. They sing your name, my heart sings your name. They sing your name, my heart sings your name. And everything changes, but my heart stays the same. My heart stays the same. Where you signed your name. Signed your name.
And welcome back. You're listening to Code Connection. Today I have with me Wayne Chater, and he's sharing his work, his music, his thoughts, and definitely some great thoughts for enlightenment in this show today. And if you've missed any part of it, I encourage you to go back and check it out in the archives and catch it from the beginning. We did have a couple of little technical glitches right at the very start of the show, but hang in there with it for the first couple of minutes, and it'll all come through, as they say. Wayne, you started to allude a little something right before we went into that song, and I had a feeling maybe there was something else you wanted to get in that was related to true purpose and existence type of stuff on there. or
Yep.
maybe not.
Well, it's funny that you actually mentioned that because my thoughts were heading in that direction about the search for purpose or true purpose, and it's the age-old human question: why are we here? And a lot of us ask it all the time. Sometimes we get distracted by a lot of the things, and I'm sure there's a stage in everyone's life when they ask that question, and it's sometimes it's too hard to answer. Sometimes we're trying to figure it out because we need an answer, and the little thing that I'm finding along the way is not to have to try too hard to have the correct answer at that spot or at that point in time. Just to actually be present in every moment. And for me, the real time of the day that is most special to me are the moments when I am quietest or I am still. And those are the moments for me, the little time that I spend, and I seem to be an advocate for meditation, but it's when I started spending time being quiet, connecting, within myself, and just being still, not waiting for anything grand to happen, or not expecting some, magnificent epiphany or a message or anything like that. It's when I started to feel just within myself that settling effect, that joy rising through me, and just a much calmer, kinder, more compassionate person coming out to the world, a bit more comfortable with themselves and not afraid to share that. And I think those moments for me are the most important, and that's just what I wanted to touch on. Sometimes when we talk about purpose and why are we here, why do we exist, and I really think that there's so much more to each one of us than just what we do. It is who we are. And intrinsically, you are that person. You are that being. You have always been. You don't have to do anything or say anything to be who you are. You just are you. And instead of sometimes, looking at all these things that we add up for value, when you were talking about raw and simple, and some of the things that we do in terms of overcomplicating sometimes is all the things that we add on the outside because we feel that is who we are, and those are the things that people will, accept us for. And I'm not got anything against nice cars and big houses, believe me. But sometimes we tend to associate a lot more value to those things, and we start to feel that our purpose is just we exist for those things and the things that surround us, and we forget that there's so much value and purpose in just who we are. And I guess that was the little message.
Well, and that's true. And again, like you, I have nothing wrong with, all the nice and wonderful things out there. I think the difference is are we putting the focus on having those things, or are we putting the focus on being ourselves and enjoying those things? And I think that's where a lot of this purpose comes into. We've gotten, as maybe a culture or a human race in whole, maybe away from some of that. We've maybe gotten away a little bit from the being and focused too much on the doing along the way. And it seems like this may lead in perfectly with another one of your songs that you can then share with us a little bit about, because I know myself when I focused on being who I am, when I focused on being the love, as you've been talking about, and stayed focused on a purposeful life, which comes from within, and I'm very big on meditation and all the things you're talking about, there's a freedom. There's a huge, huge freedom that comes from that. And I'm constantly thinking, how do I keep getting rid of this material stuff? and I lead, and people that know me, they know I lead a very minimal life. Matter of fact, I when I travel, I don't stay in hotels. I stay in my vehicle. Matter of fact, even when I'm landed someplace, I've been staying in my vehicle up until I was just gifted a wonderful hotel room for a month by some people because they found out. They go, "What's wrong with you? You're living in your vehicle in minus 30-degree temperatures." And I'm perfectly comfortable. But they had to step forward and do something, and I'm very grateful they did because I'm thoroughly enjoying the space here. All the things. But so I imagine there's something to the song "Set Yourself Free" because to me there really is that freedom when we focus on the purpose-driven life, when we do that simplification, when we sit in love.
Hello?
Yes?
Yep. Sorry, Jess, it just dropped off for a second.
Oh, so it seems like we're setting ourselves free when we focus on that purposeful life.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, and I laughed when I said, I don't want to be an advocate for meditation because, I'm not, like, sometimes, we get caught up in the things that we're telling people to, try and do. But my little message is for people not to be afraid of spending time with themselves. And, and we always have this thing about, the difference between being lonely and, spending time alone and, that time with yourself. And don't be afraid of that time. It's actually very rewarding. Don't expect anything during that time. Just your body needs a little time to reset because sometimes it's that chaotic in everyone's life, isn't it? We're all running from pillar to post, trying to sort things out. We got the things to do, bills to pay. People have families and children and, jobs that demand so much of them. You have to give yourself that little time. And setting yourself free is a little message over there about, that time and the message that you get from yourself. And, to kind of just free yourself from, like, all the distractions that are around you and just try to listen to your inner energy. And, everyone's got it. And it happens in whatever. If you like spending time just, kicking a ball against the wall, go ahead and do that. Spend some time with yourself, and try to clear out all the thoughts in your head if that's what works for you. That's excellent. Like, go ahead and do it. And I love Bob Marley, and, I make a couple of references to the man in this song as well, just about this song, Could You Be Love? And, like, I always listen to, like, that kind of music and think, it's such a simple message, and Bob is there telling us, it's simple. Just, vibrate with that energy, that love that's in you, and set yourself free. Makes a little reference to him. And a couple of my songs do about, the energy that love brings into your life. And like you said, stripping back your life and, it's just that loss of fear that allows you that comfort to do it, It's great to have this fantastic hotel room, but, you're not afraid of having to spend some time in your car. There's nothing wrong with your vehicle, or whatever it is you're driving, and that's the loss of fear there because you're absolutely content and comfortable with that, and it just allows you to be yourself.
That it definitely does, absolutely, and I love my time alone. I get a little, I got to have my time alone. That's all there is to it. We're going to listen to this song, Set Yourself Free. It's by today's guest, Wayne Chater. Stay tuned. We'll be back with a couple of more thoughts from Wayne.
I've been building bridges and burning down walls, listening to the silence, just to know if I can hear at all. Look at my reflection, deep down I'm the same as you. Can live, you feel me, and I feel you. We share love, that's true. Set yourself free, free up Yeah, tear down your defenses. Set yourself free. Ooh, just be hope, be love. Now be like me. Yo, I turned off my TV and I tuned out the news. My appetite won't be satisfied by jaded views, no. And our obsession with perfection is robbing us blind. And no doubt no delight in you, the joy behind. And then I'll set yourself free, free up your senses, tear down the walls, yeah, tear down your defenses, set yourself free. Ooh, just be hope, be love, be life, be you. Yo, there was this what's the poet, just in case you didn't know it. Yeah, his message was love. Could you be loved and show? Oh, this was the poet, just in case you didn't know it. Yeah, his message was love. Could you be loved and show it? Set yourself free, free up your senses, tear down your walls, tear down your defenses, set yourself free. Ooh, be hope, be love, be life, be you, life, be you. Ooh, life, be you. Just set yourself free.
And welcome back. This is Jesse and Nichols, George. You're listening to Code Connection. That song was called Set Yourself Free. It's by today's guest, Wayne Chater. And, you know, it's really interesting, a lot of the concepts that Wayne has been talking about on today's show. And by the way, if you've missed any part of it, definitely go back and listen to the archives, which will be available immediately after we finish here, and catch the rest of his thoughts, because we've delved into a lot of territory today. But, you know, in the process of all this, and I think I just lost my own thought pattern in this, but, and I did. It's just gone, blank. I was definitely jumped, you know, in looking at these various things, you're sharing a piece that is so seasonal, and I oftentimes like to have my guests correlate with the different aspects of the seasons. And originally I was thinking, you know, a nice flutist would have been great, you know, little panpipes, something like that. But what was interesting that wasn't clicking in, and you've mentioned this sometimes when things aren't clicking in, we need to just kind of release and let go and be still for a minute. And it's been perfect because your message has a lot to do with people shining their own light in the world. And this is a time when we are bringing the light back into the world in our seasonal year. Of course, in Australia, you're flipped around, so you're going on the opposite end of the spectrum right now. But you know, it's definitely that period that I want to encourage people, particularly those in the U.S. where the light is growing right now, to open up. And when we talk about the light returning, make sure it's your own light that's returning to the world, and let that out. Now, Wayne, we're kind of winding down in time, and I do want to remind people also they can catch up with you and follow up on Tunnel Vision, which is your CD with your music coming out. And they can do that at facebook.com, Wayne Chater Music. So it's facebook.com/Wayne Chater Music, and that's WayneChaterMusic. And this is, you know, really great for you to stay in touch and see what Wayne has coming out. We have just a little bit more that we can delve into in a sense, and I know that one of your big messages that you like to also tap into is you have a key thing that really transformed your life, and that was honesty. And I would love for you to use this little bit of time, since we don't have a whole lot, but a little bit of time talking about that and sharing with us the song that we're going to end up closing with today, which is called When Will We? So maybe you can share a little bit with us on that insight, and then also about the song insight.
Sure thing, Jesse. Yeah, you were mentioning about honesty as a, yeah. So in terms of a characteristic or just part of who I am, I found that when I can find no other way of how to live my life at the moment. It's happened to me before throughout in relationships, and it has always been complete honesty, irrespective of, how good or bad that's made me look. And there has been no other alternative for me. Initially, when I was younger, growing up, I think maybe, I wanted to be liked, and, not that I don't want to be liked now. I mean, I grew up trying to please people and do things the way that, I felt in my mind. Not that anyone was pressuring me to do anything. I just felt that, this is the things I'm supposed to do. It'll make people happy, and then people will like me. And going through the transition and, through work and, experiencing the things along life, I've felt that spark that is within you, that spark to tell it like it is. Be true to yourself. Be honest, and, if there are choices that you have made or decisions that you have taken or things that you have done, own them. And, because they are who you are at that point of time, and they're not always nice. And you need to accept the fact that that is part of you, and your journey along the way is to either learn from them or repeat them and then be honest again, and it's not very nice again. And so, when you go through that space and you are comfortable with that honesty and, putting it out there in its simplest form, raw and simple, coming back to the theme, it's a liberating feeling. Of course, there is a lot of hurt and, anxiety that might go with it and difficulties that come with it. But you find that at that point in time, when you look back on it, you have been true to yourself. And it's not always pleasant, but it is who you are. And people will forgive you, accept you, or, move on their path. And that is the way that, your life will pan out, and mine is panning out at the moment. I have lost people that are very close to me, and who I care about, deep down within me, and I carry them with me, who are no longer a part of my life. But that is something that I need to own and deal with it. I know that in the moments that I was with them and I was interacting with the people around me, I was honest, and I shared my true self with them, and it wasn't always nice. And as I move along, I'm learning, about myself a bit more. And it is a liberating feeling to be yourself and be honest. It's one where you don't get caught up in the added pressure of trying to be someone else.
And I agree. I think it's so important. I think sometimes people are afraid of getting into that honest space. They are afraid of being themselves. And I've really kind of come to the conclusion that we can only be afraid of being ourselves if we're living outside of ourselves, if we're living for the opinions of others. And to keep in mind that it's not what others think of you, it's about how you feel living your life. And, if you can be happy in your life, then that's a great thing. If you can be yourself, that's a powerful space to be in. And there's no shame, because I've learned through code interpretation that we each have our own little divine spark and our own little piece, which is magnificent. And the world needs you to be your piece and needs me to be my piece. And when that happens, it comes together in such a beautiful way of things. Wayne, any insight that you want to give? We are going to close the show with When Will We, your song When Will We. Any little tidbits about that and any closing comments you would like to share with us?
That's just one last thing that I would probably want to share is with When Will We, a little message to anyone who might be listening. Is that song? That song pretty much goes, when will we, and the next line is truly be free. And like we've said through, talking about all the things that we've spoken and touched on, it's just about being yourself. Be who you are, and, be a little mindful of all the people that are around you. And don't feel helpless and feel like, just because it's not on a grand scale, you do not have the power to make a difference and impact another person's life and the energy that is all around you, because you do. And when you choose that space and when we choose to be free and to be love, that's really when, that's, for me, that's the way I want to see us as, human beings interact with one another and the world around.
I so agree with you. And I have to say it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. You've shared a wealth of information with us, and just a gift to have you be real with us today.
Thank you so much, Jesse, for having me and giving me this opportunity, and for sharing my songs around, and for the people who need to hear them, I hope they do, and for your generosity and having me on the show. And, the connection of how we've actually come together and be in this space is also beautiful. Thank you so much.
And I'll ask that you hang on a little bit, even once we get into that closing song of yours, and I'll catch up with you on a private conversation here in the switchboard. So just stay with me here. We have been talking with Wayne Chater today. If you've missed any part of this show, you're definitely going to want to go back and listen to it in the archives, and that is going to be available here in just a couple of minutes after we close out the show. If for any reason the last song cuts off, you will also be able to catch that in the archives. It does play through there even if you're not hearing it live. Now, I want to mention next week on my show, I'm going to be looking at the codes for the Chinese New Year and looking at the codes for the Fire Dragon, which is our New Year coming up in the Chinese system there, and that's going to be pretty interesting to take a look at. Also, February special deal, because we are closing down on the last couple of days of January here. I've decided to go ahead and offer up my book on relationships, You Need Life Dreams, and its companion workbook for only $1.99 each. So it's a great opportunity to pick those up, and I should mention that's the ebook version of those books that you'd be able to get for $1.99, and so you can watch my homepage for that. You can catch up with all of my work, by the way, videos, the whole spectrum, archive shows, everything, through my website, JessieAnnNicholsGeorge1.com. I also want to mention we've got several shows here on Main Street Universe throughout the week, and we have Darren Bucara, who pops his head in and out. Janice White, our co-producer, is also doing her own shows from time to time. Susan Weed continues to come on with her work in herbs and natural plants. I've heard some remnants of some other people coming back in who haven't been in a while that are absolutely magnificent, that will be doing periodic shows here on the network as well. And, of course, there's Kevin Baird pops in and out from time to time with New Companion, which is his own personal invention. And then, of course, I'm right here with Code Connection on Fridays. So this is Jessie Ann Nichols George. I want to thank you so much for being here today, and thanks to all of our listeners, not only through Blog Talk Radio, but those that are streaming live through PEN, which is known as Pair Encounters Network, StreamFinder, TalkStream Live, and those that are catching our podcast at iTunes and TuneIn.com, and those that end up catching our YouTube version of the show. I look forward to seeing you back here next week as we delve more into Code Connection. Don't forget that if you've enjoyed the show today, share it with others. It's going to be available at the same link in our archive. And the song that we're going to close out with is by today's guest, Wayne Chater, and that song is called When Will We? Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Everywhere, surrounded by the sign. That pass us by night and day. Well, we're travelers busy on our way. When will we truly be free? You share your laughter and your bed. Whoa, I share my heart, you share your head. This moment too will pass us by. Oh, as we walk this road where some dreams die, some dreams die. Please tell me when will we truly be free, truly be free? They say we're sand and we turn to dust. Live we will, love we must. If we're grains of sand that turn to dust, live we will, love we must. And I hope the end will be